I'm Flip Steinauer. I'm the assistant to the executive director and COO for Lancaster Lebanon Intermediate Unit. We're a school system within Lancaster and Lebanon counties. We support the 22 school districts within Lancaster and Lebanon counties, as well as the 2 CTCs and all of the non-public schools. The value that we bring to the table for other school districts is our mantra is service, support, and solutions. So we want to always try to be there to bring some form of either the service, provide that direct service for them, or provide a solution. It may mean that we have to go out and find somebody else that's a competitor of ours that can do it better or cheaper or faster, and bring that back to the school district so that they have an option to solve the problems that they're facing. Sure, we provide a lot of direct services for school districts, whether it's special education services or whether it's other types of professional development type services. We provide consortium type services. So where school districts have challenges with buying things, we have the ability to buy with power, and we have the ability to go out and try to find some vendor that wants to sell a service, and when they can sell it to 22 school districts versus just one school district, there's a lot of interest in buying power and doing that. So we've been able to manage that. We actually serve the entire state. We are the sole source provider for Microsoft software for the entire state. And so all districts that go across the state that want Microsoft products come through us, and we are able to get a very big leverage discount for our school district. So it's providing services and solutions like that. That's our main focus. So I've been with Mazzetti & Sullivan EAP services certainly for the whole time I've been at Lancaster Lebanon IU13, which is now about 14 years, a little over 14 years. But prior to that, I was also with Mazzetti & Sullivan when I was at 2 previous employers as well. So my total time with Mazzetti & Sullivan is darn close to 25 years at this point in time. I've brought them into one organization. I've also, once I've been in 1 or 2 organizations, I've really preached about what great things they're doing for us as an organization and tried to get other organizations, other school entities specifically, to look at and consider Mazzetti & Sullivan. The value that they bring, the solutions that they bring for school districts is just incredible. The support that they bring is just unmatched. We've had the chance to see what other EAPs are doing, and I've talked with a lot of school districts who have other EAP services, and when we compare what Mazzetti & Sullivan is doing, it's just, again, it's unmatched. We're getting a lot of schools that have interest and continue to look to Mazzetti & Sullivan to bring that EAP service to their school entities. Anytime I've picked up the phone and given a call to Mazzetti & Sullivan, whether it was a very small matter or a very large, significant issue, we've had instantaneous response from Mazzetti & Sullivan, and they've been, again, just incredible to work with to respond to our needs. Again, from the smallest thing that we have that's a minor disagreement between a couple coworkers to a tragic death of a staff member or a student. I mean, we've had Mazzetti & Sullivan be there to help us through those crises. Yeah, we're right now launching a service with Mazzetti & Sullivan that we just love, and that is that we're working on trying to have one of the therapists from Mazzetti & Sullivan be available to our staff members on a regular basis, and the therapist has a therapy dog. We found that the therapy dog is now drawing people in to come in and have conversations with the therapist. No offense to anybody who's a therapist, but bringing that dog to the table just changes the dynamics. And we found that we've got people who are really willing to come in and have conversations because there's a dog in the room. And people that hadn't necessarily been willing to come and have those open conversations and dialogues in the past now are. So that's one of the unique things that I found with Mazzetti & Sullivan, that they're willing to take a look at and try different avenues. We also we have our own medical center, and one of the things we're trying to do is have the ability to partner with Mazzetti & Sullivan to potentially put a therapist in our medical center, so that when people come in, they might be coming in for some form of medical issue, but realistically it's tied back to maybe a mental health issue. And that way we have a hand-in-glove type of handoff in our medical center to a therapist that might be able to help these individuals with the medical challenges that they're facing. So it helps them both from a medical perspective and a mental health perspective. I'll give you an example of where we had a death that, again, just it was probably 20 years ago for me, but I see it like it was yesterday, where we had a staff member who tragically fell from a 20-plus foot area and fell to her death. It was a 24-year-old young lady, and I got that call in the afternoon, and I picked up the phone and called Mazzetti and Sullivan, because we had staff members who were there and witnessed the person falling to their death. And we had staff members witness that, and I had people from Mazzetti and Sullivan on our site within an hour to help us with the debrief, the counseling, the grief therapy that's required in something like that. And it wasn't just that we had them there within an hour, it was that we had them there for days and days. And as the tragedy grew and the word grew of the tragedy and more people became caught up in the emotions of the tragedy, I've never been through anything like that. And I don't know what we would have done without Mazzetti and Sullivan by our side the whole way through that. And we had, for the people who witnessed the tragedy themselves, we ended up going above and beyond what our contract is with Mazzetti and Sullivan and provided extensive services just for those individuals for months. And Mazzetti and Sullivan was there to help them get through that. And I had those people come back to me months later and say, I don't know that I could have gotten through this without help. And the IU was able to be there to help provide that service and provide that support to me as an individual. That meant the world to me. And again, Mazzetti and Sullivan was there that whole time. We've used Mazzetti and Sullivan for training for many different areas, whether it's just some form of a group training that we want to have people come in and learn a little bit about from a group perspective on how to get along, behavior management, signs of mental health issues. We've had Mazzetti and Sullivan do all those types of services. But the other thing that I really love about Mazzetti and Sullivan is we've had situations where we've had just one-on-one situations where we've required people to go and get help. You have a choice to go get help. We've required people to go get help. And that's been great to work with Mazzetti and Sullivan as a partner, because they've been able to come back and be able to say, the person was required to do X number of sessions, and at the end of those sessions, I felt comfortable when the therapist came back and said, they didn't tell us what was said, but they came back and said, we believe that the situation has resolved itself and that you can move forward at this point in time. That gave me great comfort as a leader of the organization, that I know when Mazzetti and Sullivan's there to do those types of services, that we're able to get the supports we need to have for our staff to be successful. The utilization that we've had with Mazzetti and Sullivan has gone, it's like anything else. It ebbs and flows. It goes up and it goes down. Certainly in this pandemic, in the 2020 timeline, it has gone through the roof for us. We have so many people that are taking advantage of the service. And again, we're so thankful that we have the service, especially in 2020. But the utilization itself has always been higher than what I was expecting. It's certainly higher than the national norms in this area. I think the one thing that also has been beneficial to us is when we were able to go online and have the ability to do teletherapy with Mazzetti and Sullivan has been just, again, another asset for our relationship with Mazzetti and Sullivan. We don't have to have staff physically go out in the time of COVID and go into a setting where we can have that therapy done in a teletherapy type setting. It's been great. I've been a staunch supporter of Mazzetti and Sullivan for the last 20 plus years. I've had competitors, I've had people who are friends that have come up and said, we're not happy with the EAP service that we have, or we're looking to change our EAP. And we had some people who I know that didn't have an EAP, and they said, what are you using? I would say probably the best thing I like about working with Mazzetti and Sullivan is that there's never a limit to what we can do. We always are coming up and saying, I have a new idea, can we do this? And the answer is always right with, yeah, let's figure out how to try to do that. So unlike other places I work with that say, no, that's not part of our contract, or no, that's not part of the model that we have, or whatever that might look like, I don't run into that with Mazzetti and Sullivan. When we said we want to try to come up with and put a person in our medical center, okay, let's figure out how to do that. When we said we want to have teletherapy, let's figure out how to do that. When we said we want to have a regular session here, including a therapist with a therapy dog, no problem. Let's figure out how to do that. It's always been that willingness and openness to take a look at how to provide services, no matter what I ask. I've never gotten from Mazzetti and Sullivan a no. It's always been, okay, let's figure out how to make that happen. And that to me is why, as long as I'm in the business, I'm going to continue to come back to Mazzetti and Sullivan. I think for us, IU13 in Lancaster and Lebanon County, we care about our staff so much. We try to do everything we can to take care of our staff. And EAP services is just one of those pieces. And we would love to have people come and work for us that want to work for some place that really cares about their staff. We provide a on-site health and wellness center. We provide EAP services. We provide all kinds of things to help just take care of our staff. And that's what we are as an organization. That's who we are as an organization at IU13. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you about Mazzetti and Sullivan and the services that you provide. We've shared about confidentiality with the EAP services with our staff multiple times, and we've said over and over and over again that this is confidential information. We're not going to have access to your information. And we get a skeptical response, and over the years we've gotten a skeptical response. But we've now had people that have taken advantage of the program, and they're seeing that there truly is the confidentiality that's out there, that we're claiming that there's confidentiality out there, and they're seeing the confidentiality. They're going up and saying, well, to my supervisor, I guess you know I went for services, and their supervisor says, I know nothing about what you're going for, that you're going for services. So we're seeing staff members now are coming up and realizing that they can be involved in group settings, and I think that's giving them some ideas of, well, maybe I want to maybe call back and get a little bit more information and do something one-on-one because I'm seeing what's going on in the group setting, and they're able to get through that fear of the confidentiality and realizing that this truly is confidential, just as it's been said to us for the last 15 years, that this is a confidential service. Our staff are now starting to really buy into that, and they've seen the results, that it truly is a confidential service. Mazzetti and Sullivan have been nothing but great to work with from our perspective. We've encouraged all the school districts. I've encouraged all the school districts across the state. I meet with them on a regular basis, and I've encouraged them to look at Mazzetti and Sullivan as an EAP for their needs, and just because I know what you bring to the table and what services that you have.